This is Mac OS Ken.
Masks off at Apple corporate, iPhone grows its share in Europe, and rambling thoughts on Apple's luck. It is Wednesday, the 3rd of August, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Trade Coffee. Get $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/macosken. This show is also sponsored by Notion, one workspace for your whole team. With hybrid work probably here to stay, the strongest teams are the ones who can keep it together without having to be together. Let Notion be the one hub where your whole team can share work and processes, manage projects, and collaborate with clarity. For companies of all sizes, Notion provides one central and customizable workspace that can be tailored to fit any team and bring all teams together to get more done and move faster. Yes, all sizes. Figma, Axios, Headspace, Duolingo. So many companies you know and use Notion. And those companies make it easier for you. Notion has a worldwide network of millions of users, creating templates, tutorials, and new inspiration. You're not just using the tools they use, you can use them the way they do too. Learn more and get started for free at notion.com/macosken. That's notion.com/macosken to help you take the first step toward an organized, happier team today. NOTION. That's notion.com/macosken. It is masks off at Apple corporate. Unless you want to keep them on. The Verge has had a look at an internal Apple email from the company's COVID-19 response team. In light of current circumstances, says the email, wearing a face mask will no longer be required in most locations. They do hedge that a bit, though, suggesting people keep checking internal communications for specific requirements for specific sites. Folks also need to be aware of recommendations and requirements from local health authorities. The email went on to say, we recognize that everyone's personal circumstances are different. Don't hesitate to continue wearing a face mask if you feel more comfortable doing so. Also, please respect every individual's decision to wear a mask or not. The Verge points out that Apple's masks-off move comes amid a surge in the highly transmissible BA.5 variant of COVID-19. Earlier this week, the Bay Area Transit System, BART, brought back its mask mandate. Kind of makes you wonder about the current circumstances cited in the COVID team's email. Quick aside, I went to a market about a quarter mile from my home the other day. Outside was a sign that said something to the effect of, wearing masks inside not required but strongly recommended. Inside, not one member of the store staff was wearing a mask. I guess they have current circumstances too. A bad quarter for smartphones in Europe was not so bad for Apple and Samsung. That's according to new numbers from Counterpoint Research. The two firms managed to grow both unit sales and market share year on year, though each did slip quarter on quarter. That was likely due in part to macroeconomic uncertainty, though Counterpoint seems to put most of the sequential slip on both companies stopping sales in Russia after Russia started attacking Ukraine. According to Counterpoint's count, first place Samsung sold 13 million smartphones in Europe last quarter. That represented a 9% increase from the 12 million it sold in the same quarter a year earlier. Sammy's European market share moved from 27% to 32% over the same time frame. Second place Apple's growth was not quite as dramatic. Then again, it doesn't have as wide a range as Samsung. iPhone sales moved from 9.2 million units in the year-ago quarter to 9.6 million last quarter, up 3% year-on-year. iPhone's European market share moved from 21% to 24% over the same time frame. The only other firm to see growth was fifth-place Realme. Sales grew 21%, but they are so small that any growth looks huge. That came complement to the company selling 1.3 million units last quarter versus 1 million a year earlier. Counterpoint Research Associate Director Jan Stryjek was quoted in the release saying, "It was a mixed bag of results in the second quarter of 22, and year-on-year comparisons mask complex market dynamics. Much has changed in Europe compared to last year and even last quarter, both from an industry and macro perspective." As for what's ahead, Stryjek said, "The situation in Europe unfortunately remains bleak. Many countries in Europe are slipping closer to recession, and domestic political tensions in numerous countries beyond Russia and Ukraine are rising, for example in France, Germany, and the UK. We remain hopeful, though, that the bottom has been reached and the trajectory should turn upward soon, but the recovery will likely be long and slow." Ahead of the next round of Apple Watch units, one segment seems to be running low. MacRumors says Apple Watch Edition models are beginning to sell out just weeks before the Apple Watch Series 8 lineup is expected to be announced. Seems kind of hit or miss, though. Checking Apple's site, the first one I tapped at random could be mine tomorrow if I wanted to spend close to $1,000. Beginner's luck, maybe. MacRumors says a lot of the titanium-cased models are listed as currently unavailable in Canada, the UK, and the US, as well as select other countries. The piece says the 41mm models are in shortest supply, though a few 45mm models are out of stock as well. If you're having problems with your studio display, it is apparently not just you. A report from MacRumors says Apple has admitted that customers using the Studio display may experience audio-related issues, including sound unexpectedly and abruptly cutting out, audio playing at a high speed, distorted audio quality, and choppy playback. Hey, remember how neat it seemed when we found out that the machine had an A-series processor and ran a version of iOS? Oh well. The piece says Apple-authorized service providers are being told to tell people hearing or not hearing issues that they should unplug the Studio display from power, unplug any accessories or devices connected to the display, wait 10 seconds, then reconnect the Studio display to power. So basically an elaborate turn it off and turn it on again. Seeing the silver lining, MacRumors says the steps make it sound like an issue tied to software, not hardware. The site seems hopeful that a future update will bring an actual fix. You can now bike the country with Apple Maps. iDownload says Cupertino's answer to cartography has added cycling directions for Hawaii. If you've not used them, the piece says with cycling directions, users on a bicycle will be able to get turn-by-turn navigation from one point to another. On top of that, the feature also covers bike lanes, bike paths, and when someone will need to use shared roads. With the addition of the state, iDownload says biking directions in Apple Maps now cover all 50 states in the union. Cycling directions are also available internationally, according to the piece, including in China, Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, Barcelona, and London. More news in a moment, but first a word from Trade Coffee. A while ago, I heard a phrase that I absolutely love. Don't drink coffee to wake up to drink coffee. If you love that too, try Trade. You know that little out-of-the-way coffee place that is in another city and that you'll never find because it's out of the way and in another city? Yeah, Trade knows exactly the place I'm talking about. They've got great coffees from 60 of the country's best craft roasters, small businesses who pay farmers fair prices to sustainably source the greatest beans from around the world. Once they find out a bit about what you like in a cup of coffee, they'll hook you up. Just answer a few questions and you will get your own personalized variety of coffees delivered fresh to you as often as you like. I have been way more than happy with every coffee that they have found for me. See what they have for you. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/macOSKen. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/macOSKen and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/macOSKen for $30 off. From going to gone. A piece from 9 to 5 Mac says the games marked leaving soon for Apple Arcade have left. Last month, Apple Arcade added a section to its landing page listing 15 games that would be off the service soon. A few days later, the company said that the titles would be playable for 2 weeks past their disappearance, provided they had been downloaded already. We are now inside those 2 weeks. Interestingly, it wasn't just the games that went away. 9 to 5 Mac says the leaving soon section has also left. Seems safe to assume then that no other titles are in imminent danger of removal. Back in mid-July, we heard word of a number of Mac models hitting Apple's vintage hardware list at the end of the month. The month ended, and that list has grown. MacRumors runs down the list, which includes the first MacBook Pro models with the Touch Bar. 4 MacBook Pros on the list in total, made in 2015 and 2016. There's also a 2015 MacBook Air, 2 2015 iMacs, 1 2016 MacBook, and a 9.7-inch iPad Pro released in 2016. If you own any of those, take note. Vintage products are still eligible for repair through Apple or Apple-authorized service providers, but only if they have the parts to do it. We will wrap the day with a story about Pixar taking on Pixar. For modern animation fans, the rest of this week could be spent somewhere between the house John Lasseter built and the house he's helping to build currently. A piece from CNET says Disney Pixar's Lightyear, the movie about the guy who was the basis of the Buzz Lightyear toy in the Toy Story series of films, that hits Disney Plus today. That one's kind of got an uphill slog for a few reasons. First, it had a run in theaters 6 weeks ago. The biggest buzz it might have generated, pardon my use of the term buzz there, but the biggest buzz it might have generated would probably have come 6 weeks ago. It also hasn't resonated with audiences the way other Pixar films have. While reviews and audience reactions haven't been bad, 75 with critics, 84 with audiences on Rotten Tomatoes, they've lacked a certain oomph. The critics' blurb on Rotten Tomatoes says Lightyear settles for being a rather conventional origin story instead of reaching for the stars, but this gorgeously animated adventure ably accomplishes its mission of straightforward fun. So, not bad, but not great. Similarly, the audience blurb says even if it doesn't quite measure up to Toy Story, Lightyear offers an entertaining, although somewhat complicated, origin story for the beloved title character. All that said, the barrier to entry is practically gone now. If you're a Disney Plus subscriber, as tens of millions are at this point, Lightyear is ready for blastoff. A more interesting film to watch in some ways will be Luck. The New York Times has run an article on the film, which is really an article on former Pixar exec and current head of Skydance Animation, John Lasseter. The New York Times calls Luck the most Pixar movie of the summer. This despite Lasseter being bounced from Pixar 5 years ago after some of his workplace behavior made some staffers feel disrespected or uncomfortable. While it wouldn't be completely accurate to say that Lasseter was cleared of anything inappropriate, the report says Skydance hired lawyers to scrutinize the allegations against Mr. Lasseter and privately concluded there was nothing egregious. From Apple's side, all of this matters because the Cupertino company has inked a deal with his current company, Skydance Animation, for at least 2 features and 1 animated series over the next couple of years, the first of which hits this week. Needless to say, Lasseter is complimentary of the folks at Apple. The New York Times piece had him saying in a phone interview that given Steve Jobs' history with Pixar, working with Apple felt like part of him had come home. I really like what Apple TV Plus is doing, said Lasseter. It's about quality, not quantity, and their marketing is just spectacular. It is the best I've ever seen in all the movies I've made. Of course, they're also writing his checks at this point, so yeah. As films like Luck go, Lasseter has been tops. The Times calling it the most Pixar movie of the summer is no small thing, especially considering Pixar actually made a movie this summer. I can't help wondering, though, does being the most Pixar movie matter when you're not Pixar? Pixar has always had Disney, first as a partner in the 1990s, then as owner once Apple CEO Steve Jobs sold the company to Disney in 2006. I keep thinking about Ron Johnson. The former head of Apple Retail has tried a few things since leaving the Cupertino company, none of which have been successful. Personally, I think Johnson is brilliant, but things haven't clicked for him professionally post-Apple. Apple Retail probably wouldn't have become what it became without him, but the same could probably be said for Johnson. John Lasseter may have made the most Pixar movie of the summer. Can such a movie make a Pixar-sized dent without Pixar? It will try, starting this weekend. Luck hits Apple TV Plus this Friday, the 5th of August. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Notion, one workspace for your whole team. Learn more and get started for free at notion.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Trade Coffee. Get $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.